Hey you! Yeah, you. Do you remember running home from class to catch the after school blocks on TV? Or waking up early on the weekends to watch cartoons? Do you remember Nickelodeon? Yeah? Now, do you remember the show called Rugrats? They made a game out of that cartoon, you know. Actually, they made a lot of games starring everyone's favorite babies. From the Game Boy Color to the PlayStation 1 to mobile phones. My friend, if you liked this show, you were never in shortage of good quality gaming content. Me personally though, nah. To me, Rugrats always belonged in the group of media whose art style makes me physically ill, in which it is in the good company of the likes of the South Park TV series and the Donkey Kong Country games from the SNES among others. Don't worry, we'll get back to this in a later video. The Rugrats series has dabbled in a lot of different genres, but this game in particular takes inspiration from a well-beloved series of games. Board games! Anyways, for this one, we are going to dive into a long-running trend during my childhood, where I never personally owned the games I'm revisiting. Rather, a lot of my exposure to certain games came through friends of mine. The friend in question this time I got to know back around 2nd or 3rd grade, the details elude me, and he lived right next to a gas station and drank orange juice like it was water, so we're just gonna call him Mr. Juice Pump. Oh, and believe me when I say you'll be hearing a lot about this guy in the future. He's the source of many a shenanigan. Mr. Juice Pump and I became pretty good friends after a while, so naturally he started inviting me over to his house. And this would be where I had my first meeting with Rugrats treasure hunt for the Nintendo 64. I remember I absolutely despised having to play this game when I was over to visit. I would much more like to go outside and jump on the trampoline, which, to be honest, was the real reason I was there. So I had originally planned to go in hard on the criticism of this game since I remember not really liking it at all. And you know what? The game is actually, well, it's on the lower end of bad, but it's not the terrible mess a lot of the reviewers back in the day wanted it to be. For small children that like the Rugrats cartoons, there is something here at least. The characters have their supposedly original voice actors.
My worstest nightmare. You better pay better attention to your cookies.
The environments are, while mostly forgettable, there, and there's a bunch of familiar characters, some more involved than others. For kids above the age of 7 though, yeah, there's not much. But anyways, let's start from the beginning. Wow, so many freaking logos. You know, the worst part about licensed games like this is that everyone wants to have their logo displayed front and center no matter what. Oh, wow, look at that tile screen. That sure is a nice picture of the box art, guys. Well done. After trudging through all the logos and stuff, we treated it to the intro cinematic, which, by the way, plays every time you turn on the game and after you finish the board. And oh my, I think my emulator is on the fritz because I don't remember Grandpa Lou being an amputee or a magician. Oh god, someone call a Child Protective Services. These children are being starved to the point where you can't even see their legs. Ah, demon! Yeah, I'm just gonna do some resetting here, folks. Just hang on a minute. There we are. Now GPL isn't an amputee anymore, but it looks like he hasn't given up on his magic tricks yet. Finally, the main menu. That is, if you can even call this a menu. It's so bare bones that it's not even worth talking about. The only noteworthy thing about this is that I swear it uses some kind of music from Banjo-Kazooie. It's uncanny how alike it sounds, but I couldn't really find anything that sounds the same, so I guess it's just my imagination? Let's not dwell on it too much and move on to the actual game. Wow, that's it? Like, this is embarrassing even for a quick cash grab. With only 3 boards to choose from, I don't see us spending a lot of time on this at all. Oh well, let's just start with the first one, Angelica's Temple. On this board, you work together with the other players to find the broken pieces of the statues you see in the intro to the board, before Angelica finds her pieces of a tablet or whatever. Oh yeah, every board has its own pre-game cutscene where they establish the background for the board. I think it's a nice touch, but you're not losing much if you don't pay attention. You can try to find the pieces by landing on the green magnifying glass spaces, which allows you to look around the room you're currently in, highlighting different objects that you can search through. When you've searched through one object and take with you whatever lies beyond, you can't search through it again. But the statue pieces aren't the only things you can find. You can also find power-ups such as the compass, which lets you go backwards the way you came. A flathead toy screwdriver so you can go through hidden passages, and a magnifying glass so that you can search twice on each search space. Then there's the dust bunnies that are useless and also waterproof for some reason. The baby's statue pieces and Angelica's pieces. Angelica is also roaming around the board searching, and if you come in contact with her, she either takes 10 of your cookies, or if you're holding one of her pieces, takes that instead. I kinda like this because it gives you a chance to grab one of her pieces and run away with it while the others search for the rest of her statues. In the end, it's all based on luck though. Angelica's tablet is in just as many pieces as one of the statues, so it's an even playing field in a sense since it's 4v1, but if she's extremely lucky, she can find those pieces in like no time flat, and I have this kind of feeling that the NPC cheats in this game.
No baby's gonna stop me now.
Of course, there is more to this. Along the way, there are other spaces you can land on. These blue ones gives you cookies, the red one takes cookies away, and these blue ones lets you nap for the remainder of the turn. The picture of Dale... Well, I don't really know how to explain this. The spaces in the room are shuffled. The toy box allows you to purchase inconsequential items for 6 cookies, and then it's the most annoying one, the crib. If you have a keen eye, you've probably already noticed that there's a number ticking down in the top left corner as you move around the map. When this one reaches 0, you're brought to the crib room, a room separate from the board, and have it filled back up to 30. You can also use a turn to trade in cookies to increase this number, and with the amount of sweets these kids are eating, it would seem like diabetes is right around the corner.
Oh boy, cookies!
The crib room is horrible. You can't use your map in here, so there's absolutely no way to know who's where. And the spaces you use to get out only show a minimal amount of information related to which room you'll end up in, so you're probably gonna go into the wrong one more often than not, especially if you're playing on a large board. Along with the players and Angelica, there are a few NPCs which move around the board seemingly at random and helps you out if you land on the same space as them. There's the dog, who lets you move up to another 5 spaces, and Grandpa Lou, who gives you cookies. This board is okay. It's not the best of the 3, but it's far from the worst. The Aztec theme does help though. As you've probably noticed, the game seemingly borrows a lot from Mario Party, which by the way came out around 6 months before this game, and dumps it down considerably, which is probably why I remember not liking it that much since I came fresh from Mario Party and was expecting a comparable experience. Sometimes it works okay enough, like in the second board, Sunken Treasure, where you go around looking for booty, competing against the other babies to see who can get all 4 treasures first. On this board, there's even a duel mechanic where if you stop on the same space as another baby, you play a match of rock, paper, scissors, and the winner gets to pick one thing to plunder from the loser. Obviously, this game was way ahead of its time. This board also gets rid of Angelica, that cheater, and replaces her with Susie, who, if you land on the same space as her, helps you find one piece of treasure hidden within that room. All in all, this is just like the previous board with the same spaces and the same gimmick, just with some altered rules. The only thing that's worth mentioning is the annoying status screen. In Angelica's temple, it was easy seeing which pieces had been collected and which were missing. Here though, if you want to check the treasure any of the other babies currently have, you have to wait for the right player to rotate all the way into view every time you open the status screen. Yay. Alright, just one more board to go before we're done with this snore fest. Let's hope it's a good one. Ah! What is that? Ah! Another one! Oh my god, please make it stop. Yep, this is the last board, Reptar's Candy Island, and it is completely different from the rest. In this mode, all of the babies take on their Reptar forms, and trust me, it sounds a lot cooler than it actually is. Just like the other 2 boards, when you're in Reptar form, you don't lose energy, and since you're always in Reptar form, you don't have to deal with the crib room anymore, which is probably the only positive thing I have to say about this whole damn level. All of the voice clips are exclusive to this board, which is fine, I guess. The only reason I don't like it is because I won't get to hear Phil say cookie anymore.
Oh boy.
The only thing that is remotely the same is the objective. You have to collect 5, 10, and 15 of 3 different types of candy. The fourth one being the candy that you already have so much of that you need to give it away, apparently. Because, you know, you don't need it, and every baby is assigned a candy that is his or hers. The game ends when someone has collected the required amount of each candy, which is fine and all, but it's the road to the finish line that is the worst offender here. The board this time is just a round cake thing, with a pitch black background where everyone goes around in one direction. Every space has been replaced with something else. The only notable ones being the spaces that sends you to an area where you pick up sweets, the lever which sends someone standing on the lookout below space flying somewhere, preferably into the jaws of the giant Reptar dancing around on top of the mountain, the key spaces which lets you go to a random area, and the whammy spaces which are so fucking broken I can't believe it. While playing, I saw 3 events happen on this space. One where you trade candy with the other players, but apparently not always. One where it resets everyone's Reptar bars to 10, and one where it resets them to 20. Of course, when resetting or trading, they have to slowly count the numbers up and down, wasting even more of your time. But the worst offender of this is when the NPCs try to trade in their Reptar bars for other candy in one of the sub-areas. They take forever. The reason this board is the worst is that it just takes so long to get through. The random elements make it drag on for far too long. Take this instance for example. I had just gotten into Lil's area to get some of that sweet, sweet pudding. When Reptar stops on a space that is parallel with the space a character is on, something specific to that character is triggered. In Lil's case, it kicks everyone out of her zone, the pudding zone. Oh well, I thought, better luck next time. It just so happens that next round I find a rainbow key, which allows me to choose which area to be transported to. So naturally, I choose Lil's. And wouldn't you know it, the very same turn, Reptar meets up with Lil again and exiles everyone from the pudding room. God damn it! This cost Chucky to win, and we get this. Which is kind of ironic, considering he's the scaredy cat of the bunch. So that's about it for Rugrats, I guess. This is one of those games that I really didn't play a lot of, in this case because I didn't like it. It's no Mario Party, that's for sure, and even though I said somewhere in here that its influences were clear, that's not necessarily the case. Maybe the game would have fared better if it hadn't released so close to Mario Party, who knows? But after all, it came off as just a shameless cash grab. I truly think the game had potential, and even though I never really watched the cartoon, I can see that they tried to emulate it to the best of their efforts. It's just a shame that the rest of the game couldn't keep up.
Oops.